Hey, Emma.
Yes, Madelyn.
What do you call all the knitting, baking, painting, and general hobbying that people are doing while they're self-isolating?
I don't know. What do you call it?
Quarantine craft. Hello, and welcome to Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
It was bad on purpose.
Okay. Uh-huh.
There's all sorts of other, Minecraft rhymes I could have made that would have been better than that, but I decided to go for a bad one.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You believe me,
I believe you face.
Well, folks, I'm your on-purpose, not very funny host, Madelyn.
I'm your always not very funny host, Emma.
I do want to go back sometime and listen to all of my jokes and see if there are any that are funny.
I'm sure there's, 5. 5 genuinely funny ones.
Oh, boy.
And maybe, another 10 that are just so extremely unfunny that they circle back around again.
Well, that's not so bad. That's probably 20%. No, it's not. It's less than that.
Yeah. It's I don't know. What's 1/8?
12.5%.
That, yeah.
I'm your 12.5% funny host. And thanks for tuning in. This week, as you might have picked up from the intro, if we can call it a joke, we'll be talking about gaming legend Minecraft.
The gaming legend.
I mean...
It doesn't sound quite right. That sounds like Minecraft is streaming on Twitch.
It is. Right now, if you go to Twitch, you can go see Minecraft.
People are streaming it, but it's Minecraft, the person, the gaming legend.
One day it'll become sentient.
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
But our new game will be Code Vein. And it's a week where I've played a portion of both games. One of those rare weeks.
One of those blessed weeks.
Less rare these days, because I've been playing one. But still.
Yeah, you've been good about that.
I know. It's April, and every time I've played a portion of one of the games.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world in Talk This. So, speaking of whole worlds, are you ready to talk about Minecraft? I feel like we could do a 5-hour podcast on Minecraft and really just scratch the surface.
Yeah. I mean, at that point you're just, getting into the history of it, which, it's Minecraft. It's always existed.
Since the dawn of time.
Came into the world with the Big Bang. And so... the world was bestowed Minecraft.
And it was good.
It came out of Pandora's box, probably.
So Minecraft, if you haven't heard of it, is a wide-open sandbox video game that was released as a public alpha in 2009. One of the first of what would become the early access trend in video games. Mm-hmm. From originally Marcus Notch Persson, who we won't talk about much because he's a bad dude, and his company Mojang. The game was actually officially released in 2011 when Jens Bergstein took over as lead designer of the company, and has since been played by everyone in the world.
Yeah, I think that's probably pretty accurate, yeah. At least once,
Or at least watched by everyone in the world.
Yeah.
So, Minecraft, was originally coded by just this one guy. Isn't that wild? The alpha
it's not very complicated, to be fair.
I know it's not, but just to think, this game that is now literally the best-selling video game of all time was, a side project that this guy was, coding in his free time.
Yep.
So, think about how you're spending your quarantine, folks.
No, Madelyn.
No, I'm just kidding.
Stop it.
You can do whatever you want if you're quarantined. That was just a joke. It's fine if you're not doing anything.
I don't need more people being like, why aren't you writing your novel on this quarantine? Why aren't you doing all these projects in your quarantine? It's I just want to stare at my feet for half an hour.
But see, by creating this podcast, we've made playing video games into a productive hobby.
True.
So it does help me a little bit to feel superior when I see people posting those, like, you don't have to do anything on your quarantine memes. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm being productive as I play my 5th hour of Animal Crossing.
Whatever you need to tell yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm writing my 70th blog about my boyfriend playing Kingdom Hearts. So, what are you doing?
What are you doing with your life?
Speaking of Clickbait Boyfriend, today I looked at an album of his from, like, 2010 on Facebook of his Minecraft house. From when he played the beta version.
Did it also have a carpeted bathroom room?
It is not as hideous as his Animal Crossing house with the
Good,
carpeted bathroom. But it did have a lovely, like, big castle made of glass and a giant tower. I was impressed by it. I was like, wow, teenage Josh. Good job here. Ambitious. But yeah, I talked to him a little bit about what the experience was like of playing it back then, and I'll come back to that a little bit, probably. But it was interesting to have the perspective of someone who has played more and been much more into it than I think either of us has been.
Yeah. And they've definitely added a lot of stuff to it since its original release, in terms of, like, things you can do in the adventure mode, at least.
For sure. So Minecraft, again, if you're not familiar with it, because I cannot emphasize enough, literally the best-selling video game of all time, beats even my nemesis, Tetris. Which, go back and listen to our episode about the greatest games of all time, if you want to talk about my feelings about Tetris. I won't reiterate it here. Mm-hmm. But it's the best-selling game of all time. It's sold 180 million copies as of 2019, and has over 112 million monthly active players. That's more than Fortnite, and it had more than Fortnite even at Fortnite's, like, true cultural ubiquitous peak. Who knows now? I'll bet you the monthly players now are just out of this world wild.
Well, even with the wide appeal of Fortnite, I feel like Minecraft has an even wider appeal.
Well, almost necessarily, because you can do pretty much literally anything you want in Minecraft. It's really a game that, in many ways, pioneered that kind of open world gaming playstyle, and showed that people didn't need to have super defined goals or narrative or whatever to have a great time with a game and have a game sell like gangbusters.
It didn't even have a tutorial.
Yeah.
At the start. Nowadays there's, like, little text tutorials, but at the start there was just, like, nothing. Because they didn't want to bother, basically. And yet people still picked it up, even though you go into it and you have no idea what you're doing.
So there are a bunch of different modes in Minecraft these days. I think of the main ones as survival and creative, though.
Yes.
So survival mode, where you have to gather all your resources, and the creepers and all the monsters can kill you. And creative mode, where you just have access to all the resources, and you can build and have fun as you see fit.
Yeah.
Not that survival mode isn't fun, but you can create without the restrictions of having to protect your character from blood-sucking monsters.
Or even find resources, because you just have everything.
Exactly.
From the start.
No surprise, it makes the Wikipedia greatest games of all time list.
I'm shocked.
I mean, it's a controversial choice. But I always have to shout out that list. I feel like that list is, like, the definitive, like, if we're using the institutional theory of art, like, that's the definitive ranking of games that are art, is the Wikipedia greatest games. That's the institution. But it was, for a lot of gaming sites, it made their best of the decade list, or, like, was someone's best of the decade.
Yeah.
Which is, again, it's a Tetris-style choice, but it's hard to argue with. Because Minecraft really changed the game for gaming in pretty much every way you can quantify.
As a gaming legend.
As a gaming legend in Minecraft. But yeah, it's, it one of these first really successful open world games, really, like, one of the first early access situations where you paid money to have access to the alpha, that obviously everyone and their mother is doing now. And also one of the first real incredible success stories on Let's Plays and on Twitch.
Oh, yeah. I think that if you look at, like, the most successful streamers and Let's Players, there's a pretty decent chance that their oldest videos are Minecraft.
And this was something I talked to Clickbait Boyfriend about, because what I wanted to talk to him about, and something that was on my mind, is Minecraft is really, really big with kids.
Yeah.
Like, Minecraft is big with everyone, like, let's not get it twisted here, but Minecraft has a really big following with, like, preteens and teenagers.
Yeah.
And we've seen this. Our little sisters just love Minecraft.
Yeah.
Just love it. And having been playing a lot of Animal Crossing lately, I feel more sympathetic to loving Minecraft than I have in a long time.
Yeah, it definitely has just some sorts of similarities with Animal Crossing.
Just the resource management and the building and wanting things to look just right. I'm more understanding of that than I think I would have been a couple months ago when I would just be
I think particularly this new Animal Crossing, because you can, like, decorate the whole town, basically.
Yeah.
And so, in, like, Minecraft, you're making the world how you want it.
So I was thinking about, why is this game in particular so appealing to a group that we often don't think about as being gamers? Right, when you think about gamers, the stereotypical one obviously is like a teenager or a 20-something boy. But even you're mostly just thinking of like teenagers and young adults a lot of the time, right? If you're going to say, what does a gamer look like? We don't think that way. Obviously, me and Emma do a lot of thinking about gamers, and I wouldn't necessarily pigeonhole it that way. But if you were to talk in sort of general cultural perception, right, the people you think of as playing video games are like teenagers and young adults.
Sure.
But there are a lot of children and preteens who are really into games who I don't see too many articles, like, talking about it except in the realm of, like, Fortnite. Like, is it gonna destroy the next generation? Kind of terms.
Yeah, I mean, beyond just, like, that, like, I do think more people should be talking about it, because some of the more popular kids' games just have no real moderation.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, I think.
But what's great about Minecraft, and one reason that I think it's appealing to children, but also just, like, accessible to children, is it's difficult to, like, be obscene in Minecraft. Like, just directly in the game, to what I can tell. I suppose you could build, like, phallic monuments.
I mean, there's still online stuff.
I mean, yes.
Right? You can go online. You can go to somebody else's server.
Sure.
So there's always the same sorts of... you can run into people who are like that on any online experience, and they'll find some way to be like that,
Yeah, it's true. But I do think, at least on Minecraft, in some ways, there's ways to control your experience a little bit more on what servers you're on and how you play.
Sure.
As opposed to, maybe something like Roblox.
Yeah.
Where you have less control.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was part of it. But a big thing that Clickbait Boyfriend cited as driving his interest in the game, not as a preteen, but as a younger high schooler, was watching Let's Plays of the alpha even before he got the game. So right when it was launching, he was watching things on YouTube. He cited, oh god, I can't remember the name of the channel. They're really big. It starts with a Y. I should have written it down, but I didn't.
I'm not that familiar with the
Yobcast
scene. Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
I think.
He's laughing at me. He's laughing at me in the background. I'm sorry, I don't play Minecraft. But he cited, like, watching these videos and these Let's Plays as being, like, really, really key to him getting interested in the game. And not so much because of the gameplay even, but because Minecraft is so open, He talked a lot about how it allowed not just the streamers' personalities to really, not streamers, it was not streamers in 2009, not just the video producers' personalities to really shine through, but also to tell a really wide variety of stories and have different kinds of content. And also, it's a game that's not so hard that you have to be so focused on gameplay all the time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that there'd be another thing that is appealing to kids is there's not really a hard fail state.
Yeah.
I mean, you can lose stuff, and you can die, but it's not like the world resets because you died. Theoretically.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does,
yeah.
if you haven't got it set up right. As my disappearing houses can attest to in Minecraft.
Poor Emma. She's not a pro.
No, it's just a matter of saving your game before you exit out of it. Or else you will have to rebuild your house again.
But Minecraft has had kind of a big explosion in... I mean, it's always a popular streaming game, right? But it's had kind of a big explosion back into the streaming game in 2019, and now, I'm sure, as well. For a couple of reasons. I mean, a lot of people, when I was reading articles about this, talking about just the nostalgia of it, that in 2019, Minecraft was 10 years old, and that people were wanting to go back and see this game that they grew up with, or that they played whenever, and see what it looked like now. But there were a couple of interesting reasons that it seems to have blown up that I wouldn't have predicted. So part of it is just that apparently PewDiePie just, like, runs the industry.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, to an even greater extent than I had ever really thought about.
Yeah.
We won't dive too deep into that, but basically, he had refused to play Minecraft for a long time, and then in 2019 decided to play Minecraft, and that alone sparked so much interest in the game and so many other streams about it that it, like, raised all of the traffic on the game.
Yes. The amount of influence that PewDiePie wields scares me a little bit.
Certainly.
Just because he's not a very good person.
That's a whole other... Let's save that for a side quest at some point, shall we?
Oh, God. That seems like too big a topic for a side quest.
Save that for a side quest series where we talk about the streamers and the power they wield.
Yes, sure.
But also, something that surprised me, but shouldn't have, is that a lot of people are returning to Minecraft. A lot of streamers and content creators are returning to Minecraft in these past couple of years because YouTube has gotten even more opaque and even more just inexplicable about the videos that they demonetize.
Yeah.
But Minecraft, for whatever reason, I mean, because it's non-violent mostly and mostly non-profane, right, is pretty safe advertising content. It's apparently like a favored child for advertisers. So,
although I wonder now if there'll be any back off of that because of the COPPA stuff.
That also crossed my mind, that Minecraft also, almost by definition, is content aimed at, not by definition, but just by 10 years of history, is content aimed at children.
I mean, the thing is, it looks like it, right? Like, when COPPA was going through, like, people who did, like, animations were really worried.
Yeah.
Right? Because it looks like it's for kids, but it's not necessarily just because it's animated, right? And so Minecraft kind of looks like it's for kids, but it's not necessarily, depending on the person who's streaming it, right?
It does feel like the YouTube algorithm should be able to pick out Minecraft. What percentage of YouTube do you think is Minecraft? You know what I mean? Like, you'd hope that they could train their algorithm to know at least that, hey, if it looks like Minecraft, treat it as Minecraft.
Oh, no, I'm sure it can do that. But what does that do? Just because it knows it's Minecraft?
Yeah, I don't know.
What does that mean? There's so much different... Because of how open it is, there's so much different content that's related to Minecraft.
No, it's true.
I watch a a streamer, RT Game, does like creative mode. He hosts like creative mode parties where people come in and build based on a theme. So like there was one on like global warming, for instance, was a really interesting one. Or he's from Ireland, so they had just like Ireland one. Or like he'll set up like a big train and everybody who comes in gets to make their own train car in it.
That's cool.
Yeah, but it's not appropriate for kids a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So like, but like that's just one example. Or you'll see people who are just actually playing it, right?
Yeah.
Or doing stuff like that. Or people who do their own like creative mode builds for whatever.
The guy who's
like,
walking to the far lands.
So just identifying the issue with algorithm is just like just identifying something as Minecraft. Like you can't do anything with that. Like yeah, it's gaming content. So maybe you can make recommendations based on that, but you can't do it for anything advertisement wise.
I mostly meant that they wouldn't get flagged as children's content automatically because it's animated.
Oh, I mean, I know that a lot of people's worries were overblown with COPPA. But,
thank goodness.
I mean, that's just, I wonder if people's overblownness would also cause them to back off Minecraft a little bit.
It'll be interesting. I
didn't mean that. I don't know if there's necessarily any facts to back that up, but that was the popular sentiment.
Absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see over the next year whether that's a factor for people. So far, Minecraft seems to have been having kind of a streaming renaissance, but it's certainly possible that might change. To pivot a little bit, just a little...
I mean, COPPA was only, like, in December or something, wasn't it? I mean, it's been 70 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, like, we can put that meme of the old woman here.
I really don't think it was that long ago, is why I'm wondering
December
if you haven't seen the effects yet.
So it feels like a whole different world, so I don't know. Just a whole different world. But to pivot back a little bit to last week's side quest topic about games and social connection, Minecraft is huge for that. Being able to run your own server and play with your friends. And I read a bunch of stories about what a revelation this game has been for the autism community. In being able to, like, even for nonverbal children, to find an outlet for creative expression and connecting with people. So Minecraft, a good option for gaming and connection, especially if you're a college student who's interested in building a scale model of your campus. Someone is probably already doing it. There are some impressive ones to hold your graduation ceremony in. But I would be remiss to talk about Minecraft without talking about Minecraft Education Edition.
Sure. Well, this has to be the last thing, and then we move on.
It is the last thing. I just wanted to talk about it because it's super relevant right now, because I think Minecraft has become education for a large portion of the country.
Terrifying.
Look, the stuff I looked at looked cool.
I'm sure it is.
So there had been people using Minecraft for educational purposes, I mean, probably since, like, almost the very beginning, but certainly for several years before this. But they launched the official Education Edition from, like, Microsoft in 2016, which has a ton of lessons. Some of them are, like, made by teachers. I mean, most of them, I think, are made by teachers, which is wild. Imagine having to build your Minecraft lesson.
Yeah. I mean, since Microsoft acquired it, they've definitely been pushing it as a educational tool.
And they just made it free for everyone with an Office account, an Office Education account, until June, and put up a bunch of kind of cool sounding content, like explore the International Space Station kind of content, or go to the monuments in DC for this crisis. Which I imagine there are a lot of kids playing Minecraft with their friends right now, telling their mom and dad, "Oh no, it's for school."
Of course.
But yeah, I mean, that's weird to me. It's hard for me to imagine how Minecraft is such a good teaching tool. This is always hard for me to imagine. But
I mean, the more freedom that a game gives you, the more effective of a teaching tool it is, because you can make it for your own purposes.
That's true. A lot of people use it for coding. I was seeing some things teaching slope and a lot of art projects. And
Yeah.
I just think this is the education system now, folks. Like it or not.
I mean, there's a lot of educational games that are, like, focused on, like, one thing, right? And,
Yep.
like, it's great for that one thing, but that's all it'll ever be used for. Whereas something like Minecraft, you can basically adjust for almost any subject. At least parts of it.
Well, as you can imagine, there's been a real spike in server demand over the past few weeks.
I think that's the case for all online platforms.
But watch soon for Minecraft Earth AR, where you're going to be able to build Minecraft in the real world.
Love that.
It's coming for you, Pokemon. Stay at home. It's coming for you. Speaking of things coming for you all the time, Code Vein.
Indeed.
So Code Vein is a delayed game from Bandai Namco. It's an action RPG for the PS4, Xbox, and Windows. Came out in September of 2019, after originally having a release date of September of 2018.
Yes. They had a open beta for a while before the actual release date, I believe.
Fair enough. Well, thank Minecraft for that. Tip your hat.
Sure.
Your blocky hat.
Your weird fur hat.
Yeah. Tip your hat that cuts through your hair in the demo.
Well, you have to place it so that it doesn't, Malin. You can move it around.
Dang it!
Yeah.
I would have worn a hat!
Yeah.
I thought it was just
My-
a glitchy thing.
My character has, like, a ginormous, dramatic, like, gothic cowgirl hat, I think.
Nice,
That's how I
sure.
would describe it. But I had to move it up on her head so that the thing wouldn't clip through.
I don't know. Even in the cutscenes, the hair was like clipping through stuff in the world, though. So I'm sure that's something that they've fixed in the real game. Like, it just clips through your chest all the time.
Yeah. I was actually, when I was playing mine, like, the big hat, like, ruined all cutscenes, but not because it was, like, clipping through things.
Yeah.
Right? It just because it was covering my whole face most of the time. Which, like, it gives you, I mean, we can talk about the actual game, but this character creator is pretty wild.
The eyebrows, Emma.
It is very cool, and also you can make just terrible things with it, also.
I love that you can
Like-
add hair as an accessory on top of your hair.
Yeah, you can. I think the idea of that is, like, one, if you want, like, a different sort of hairstyle, you can sort of make it yourself, or two, I guess, if you want, like, the ponytail to be colored differently than the rest of the hair. But the terrifying thing is, like, all the accessories, they can go where they're supposed to go, or you can just move it anywhere on the body,
Yeah.
basically. So you could have a ponytail, like, growing out of your stomach if you
Oh,
wanted to.
had not even thought of that.
But, I mean, I think when I first put it in, I spent, like, the most time I've spent in any character creator. I mean, partially it's because I don't play a lot of games that have insanely detailed character creators to begin with. It's just not usually my style. But also because it's just, like, my 7th grade self was like, yes, these are the characters I wrote about in 7th grade and thought were, like, perfect, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they've got, like, 2 different colored eyes and purple hair. And... but in a nice way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't, like, it didn't make me cringe at myself. Because they still look cool. They just look, like, cool in that very particular way, you know? Because
So
Code Vein definitely leans in to that 7th grade sort of edgy aesthetic.
like, middle school is the theme of today's episode, apparently. So,
But you know what I mean.
I literally said, so Dark Souls is that, but that's not what we're talking about. So Code Vein, in case you're not familiar with it, it's a Souls-like,
Yes,
which I guess is a genre now.
it is.
I know.
Kind of.
Can't we come up, I mean, I won't litigate this, but
All genre names are dumb, so...
Emma has litigated it. Let it be ruled. But it's a Souls-like, which means it's this, like, super hard dungeon crawly, varied combat, yada yada. That's set in this post-apocalyptic future. Let me try to summarize it for you. There's a lot of story in this game.
You know what? I'll do it. Let's save the listeners from Madelyn's War Corner this time.
No!
So it's a post-apocalyptic world, populated by things called revenants, which are basically vampire-type things.
Vampire super fighters.
They need blood to survive, yada, yada, yada. But there's this big sort of cataclysm-type thing in which this big miasma started sort of spreading across the world. And this miasma turns the revenants into the lost, which are basically like revenants that have just lost their sense of self in a lot of ways, right? They just sort of get powered up and go crazy and have to fight everything, stuff like that. So in order to stop this, you have to wear these sort of gas masks. And they also have to go hunting for these things called blood beads, which is like an alternative to human blood. But because of the miasma, they've been growing scarcer and scarcer lately, which has caused a lot of problems in Revenant society. And so you're one such Revenant who falls in with like a group of sort of like wanting to revolutionize the world type people.
My Revenant was named Champerina. In honor.
You really should have tried to make her look like Champ McDude, though.
I was trying to make her look like me.
I know, she did look like you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But if you were going to name her Champerina.
Champerina McChick.
I bet you could have made someone who looked like Champerina if we really tried.
I'm certain I could. It would not have been hard.
Yeah.
It's anime trash.
Yeah.
Glasses.
Yes.
Well, I'll have you know that your lore corner was pretty much identical to mine, so don't feel superior. I wasn't going to get into any of the stuff about the queen.
Okay. I didn't trust you.
I wasn't gonna.
I felt it coming.
I was like reading it and I was like,
you're going to get really into the lore here.
I was reading it and I was like, this is too much. This is too much.
Anyway, I played about 4 or 5 hours of Code Vein, I think, back when it first came out.
Do you have the actual game?
Yeah, I have the actual game.
Oh, dang.
I really wanted to get into it, but I'm really bad at Souls-likes.
Yeah.
They are just too slow for me, which I get is, like, the point of them. But I need something that has a bit more of, like, a dodge sort of thing.
Yeah, I love that my dodge depletes my attack energy.
Yeah.
Do they not know how I play games?
It's like, it's a stamina bar. That's very staple of Souls-like. In that
I know.
All of the different actions take up an amount of your stamina. My issue is I could never figure out how to do the sneak up attack. Like, I felt like I would sneak up on them, and then I would press the button, and my character would just do a normal attack, and then I would die. Because it would turn around and just wallop me when I was trying to do, like, a one-hit kill type situation.
Yeah, I don't think I have the patience for Souls-like games.
Yeah.
It's not fun. I mean, one of the big things that I don't love doing is having to repeat parts of levels that don't provide any challenge anymore. And even in the demo, I died a bunch, and I got booted all the way back to the beginning, and I was like, oh my god, let me try the game. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Like, this is not me saying there's anything wrong with the mechanic of you have to go all the way back to the beginning. It certainly adds difficulty, and it certainly would train a smarter person than me to play more carefully.
Yeah.
But it's just a mechanic that I particularly really don't enjoy.
For me, it was like... on the level I got stuck on, I tried to, like, grind out some stat boosts, basically, so I went back and forth between one campfire killing things, but the issue just was that I just couldn't figure out how to effectively make the combat work, which, again, I don't think was on the game, but on my particular playstyle in a lot of ways. Which, being said, Code Vein does offer more variety in play than, like, your standard Souls game. in that there's these things called blood codes that you equip that sort of give you specialized abilities in different areas. So like I think like caster is one, or it's basically a caster where you have more
I
like magic.
With warrior, ranger, and caster in the demo.
Yeah. So those are kind of what they sound like. Warriors kind of, you can wield sort of bigger, heavier weapons, but you're bigger and heavier, so you're slower. Ranger is sort of like more speedy type thing, and caster you have more sort of magic stuff going on. And you get more different types of blood codes that you can equip as you keep going, because you can sort of like you're sort of like a wild card, right? In that you can change your blood code when most of the revenants.
Blood.
Yes, most of the revenants have their blood code, but you learn how to you learn from your friends how you can use those blood codes, basically.
So something I read about in a lot of the reviews, and that is also a sort of slightly unique element of this game as opposed to other Soulsy games. Can't we call them Soulsies instead?
Yeah, sure. Soulsies.
Is that you have an AI partner most of the time? I had one for a little bit of the demo, and then he got attacked by something and had to sit down.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he gets, like, bitten, basically. His mask breaks, right? So you can assume.
I don't remember. I don't think I think he just got scratched.
Well,
Oliver. Maybe I'm gonna have to kill him later. I'm not gonna do more of the demo. But a lot of the reviews had like kind of mixed feelings about the AI in weirdly different directions. So some of the reviews I read were like, the AI make things too easy. I can just sort of let them do the fighting, and I just have to avoid things. But then some of the reviews were like, the AI aren't very good. They don't know how to dodge anything. They're pretty much just offensive. Like, you can't stop them. So they just end up dying. And then I die. Where do you fall?
I wonder if it depends on the partner that they brought with them.
That
those
must
different
be
impressions. Because in a lot of missions, well, sometimes you will have just one, but a lot of missions you can choose who you're bringing with you out of a couple.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the major characters, who ends up being like your second AI partner, in the first part that you were playing, who I really just thought was like some rando, because he was just like hanging out, and I talked to him and he was like, "Let me come with you." I was like, "Okay." But then he's just like a major character, so
that's so funny.
You know what? I like that part. I like that part of it, because I really thought it was just like, they're like, they want you to have an AI partner, so here's some rando revenant. But no. But that's how it would feel, right? You wouldn't know they were a main character.
Good narrative world building. Absolutely.
But the first big boss, I basically, I got pretty close to death a couple of times, and then just, waited for, 30 seconds to get some stuff back while Louis just, dealt with it for a while. But then on another mission, I brought the other option for AI partner, and I did feel like I was struggling a lot more than I had with Louis on my team. So I do wonder if it's just they pick different AI partners and some of them are programmed better than others.
You've cracked the case.
Maybe. I don't know. One explanation.
Did you read about Domino's Pizza?
No.
Oh boy, do I have some fun content for you.
Oh dear.
So, apparently, in Code Vein, there are a bunch of unused voice lines. Not unusual. That's in games, right? Most games have some unused voice lines hanging out in there, right?
Yeah.
But apparently, in Code Vein, there are a lot of unused voice lines that are about Domino's Pizza.
Yeah?
In some of the early screenshots of the game, you can see a Domino's Pizza sign in the game's sort of main hub, area. And now, the data miners found, they don't refer to Domino's by name, but they do talk about the pizza that they've stumbled on, that they've found.
Oh man,
here's one.
I love that though.
Amazing. And they still managed to turn a profit. That's quite a business. I wonder if they have a book I can study.
I love that, though.
Here's another one. They might be good to take on explorations. I just hope the aroma doesn't draw the lost like it does to me.
I love that, though.
Here's more quotes about it. This is from an article on Kotaku, by the way. Every voice line is hilariously designed to push product, including the upselling character who describes pizza as being, quote, lonely for side dishes, and another suggesting the player try the phyllo dough crust.
I love that, though.
But somebody tweeted this stuff, basically, and the Bandai Namco's localization coordinator, tweeted back, I can tell y'all a story next time.
I mean, they must have had a Domino sponsorship that backed out or something.
Yeah.
At some point. Maybe because they delayed it, and Domino's was like, no, we can't wait. We'll find somebody else.
A different game. I pitched Kojima, and he was like, nah.
I mean, I know it's kind of unethical of me, but I delight in incredibly stupid corporate partnerships in video games. I love the cup noodle stuff in Final Fantasy 15. It's so funny. I really want Cloud and Final Fantasy 7 to just have a Butterfinger sword. I want it.
Just branded across it.
I want it so bad. I want them to eat Butterfingers and talk about how good they are. It just brings me joy. So if there had been Domino's and they just talk about how much they love pizza sometimes, I think I would have been incited to come back to the game a little more.
Nothing has ever hit the high water mark of Community and Subway for me. Streaming on Netflix now, by the way. But yeah, that is the ultimate in product placement.
True.
So, do you want to mash these games together?
Are you actually asking me? Can I say no?
You cannot say no.
Oh, dear. You're giving me a false choice, Madelyn. I want my choices to affect the narrative.
Apologies.
Please.
Emma, let's mash these games together.
Okay. You're the monsters in Minecraft.
That's an interesting mode. Like a Minecraft where the goal is to destroy everything.
Or maybe you're in the,
Nether.
Nether. I was gonna say, ether.
I'm glad I read your mind.
Right.
You could have just been the mine. The pond.
You're in the Nether. And the Nether kind of sucks, right? There's no resources or anything there. I mean, there are some resources, but I imagine trying to live in the Nether would be somewhat hard. So you're in the Nether, and you have to, scavenge resources. But what you're really trying to do is, make your own Nether gate so that you can, reach the promised land, which is just the normal Minecraft world.
I don't love the creation of a Minecraft, untouchable cast here.
What?
This underclass in Minecraft. It's living in the Nether.
I was just trying to think about how you bring the post-apocalyptic into it. It doesn't have to be set in Minecraft, right? It's just you're in sort of the thing and you're a resource gatherer, but it's hard to find resources in this part of the world, right? Because you're surrounded by fire and magma and stuff. So you're trying to find a way to make your living situation better. And bringing the Minecraft two sides type thing into it. You're trying to escape to the other side so that you can live freely.
I see that. Interesting. That would be interesting, like a real challenge Minecraft mode.
It doesn't have to be Minecraft. It's not fanfic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You make real mashups, okay?
I'm sorry. I thought it was just a Minecraft mod. I apologize.
No, the whole part of that preface was that it doesn't have to be in Minecraft. It's not in Minecraft. You missed that sentence, clearly.
I did.
Yes.
That's correct.
That's why you listened to me.
How about just a really, really, really detailed Minecraft character creator?
I don't love that.
Wherein, you place blocks to create your character.
I don't want... No. It's like Spore, but somehow worse.
Correct. No, I like this game entitled The Nether. That's good. It's a good
It doesn't have to be called The Nether.
But The Nether is a good game title.
But I think it's probably copyrighted, so...
Dang it.
Dominoes.
The Nother.
Benitza.
Benitha.
Benitza.
Benitza.
Yeah.
Domino's Pizza. No, yeah, like a really hard resource gatherer. That's intriguing. Like taking the difficulty of the Souls games in combat, but instead what's really difficult, this sounds like a terrible freaking game. What's really difficult is like finding wood.
I mean, there are stuff like that, right? There's like Frostpunk and those sorts of games.
No, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are slightly different, but they have to do with resource gathering.
I'm intrigued by it. There needs to be a character creator, though.
Okay, but it's not like you can just place blocks.
No, I mean,
you want.
I'll take that away. It's not Minecraft anymore. I get it. I understand.
I mean, it has to. I think it has to have a little bit of a blocky sort of style, right?
Right. So we've created Lego Code Vein. Excellent.
Yeah. Yes. There you go. I can't wait for the next installment. They've made all the Star Wars games now. They need something new.
Playmobil,
Code
the game.
Vein.
I'm trying to think if I have any other alternate suggestions here.
It's pretty hard.
Minecraft is like the I almost said ultimate, but what I mean is the like reverse Tetris, in that it is so big that there is nothing to hold on to.
I mean, to be fair, there's not that many mechanics in Minecraft.
That's fair.
It's mostly gathering and crafting and building, right? I mean, nowadays you've got stuff like the villagers and stuff like that, but I watched a fun video about like how it's sort of the villager stuff is a little bit skeevy in some ways.
I hope they dive into it in the movie. How about Code Vein Education Mode?
What would that be?
You learn about the circulatory system and blood types.
Oh no.
And disease prevention with the masks.
Okay. You're right. It's very topical.
It is very topical. No, I like your super hard resource gatherer.
Alright.
It has a very targeted audience.
It does. That's fine.
It's like,
sometimes that's a good thing.
Do you like Animal Crossing but wish it made you feel bad?
Somebody out there specific. I mean, doesn't Animal Crossing make you feel bad to begin with? Don't you want an Animal Crossing that makes you feel bad on purpose instead of sort of accidentally?
Maybe what you're trying to gather is ingredients for a pizza.
You know what it is? You have a watering can, but it breaks after a single use, and then you have to find resources to make another watering can.
So that'll definitely be part of it, that your tools break almost right away. That's part of the challenge.
Oh, God. No, take it back. Nobody wants this.
Well, on that optimistic note, thank you, everybody, for tuning in for yet another episode of Talk This.
It's dangerous to podcast alone.
If you like the show, you can find us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Talk This Podcast, and we're on YouTube at Talk This Sisters. No Minecraft content on YouTube, unfortunately, but it's inevitable one of these days. Just because that's where YouTube channels go. You can't have a YouTube channel without some Minecraft content, as we discussed today.
We've already got some Fortnite content.
You're right, we do. So 50% there. You can also check out our website, www.talkthispodcast.com, where you can read about the show, see the games that are in the hat that we're about to pick from, and read our blog, where you can follow a long-running series, Clickbait Boyfriend, where my boyfriend, yes, that one that played Minecraft in 2010, is playing through Kingdom Hearts. It's almost over. There are probably only 3 or 4 more. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Something.
Minecraft, probably. But also Split Screen, where Emma and I are watching My Hero Academia and Coffee Prince. We just watched the best episode of Coffee Prince of all time. So watch for that one in a couple weeks. But in the meantime, you should be binging those series. They are both worthwhile. Just don't get ahead of us. And finally, if you like the show, like I said, the best thing you can do is subscribe so you never miss an episode on Sundays at noon. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Pandora, on the app and on the website, Overcast, anywhere you can find podcasts, you can find Talk This. Ready to pick a game or two even from the hat?
I'm ready. So, for our old game, we are talking about Dead Space.
Nice.
And for our new game, we are talking about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Excellent. Space games.
Yes. Spacey boys.
That's the title of the episode, we've already decided. So tune in a couple weeks for that one, but catch us next week when Emma is picking the topic of our next side quest. I asked you last week what it was going to be, and you laughed me out of the room. Any ideas? Yeah.
Have we done difficulty in this format yet?
I don't think we have.
I'll have to go back and check, because I know we've talked about it in some capacity before, but that's what I'm thinking about right now.
Oh, cool. Not going to talk about streamers? Not going to do our 10-hour episode on the power of streamers?
You know, we'll put that out for a little bit.
Yeah, it needs more research.
Yeah.
Needs a happier time in the world.
Yeah, just when things are a little less awful, maybe we can talk about streamers.
Not any hate to streamers. Most of you, we're sure, are good people.
Oh yes, I'm sure.
Anyway, folks, that's been our episode. We hope all of you out there are staying safe and healthy and indoors. It's the best time ever to listen to all the episodes of Talk This, to be honest, now that the people that you live with are undoubtedly driving you crazy. So that's my pitch. But Emma, will you send the people off with some kind of blocky, bloody good wishes?
I got nothing this week.
I hope that this week your resource gathering goes very smoothly.